Hey everyone, Spaceman Spiff here, and today we're going to be going over and grading the provisional promos. Now that we have the full set spoiled, we've got a full picture of what is possible in the meta and can actually try and figure out what we're doing with these cards. But before we start handing out grades, I want to go over the system that I like to use. I'll be using an A, B, C, D, F scale because it's what I'm used to and I'm no longer on speaking terms with E. Since these scales can be a bit subjective, I'm going to real quick go over what each of these grades means to me. A's are the cream of the crops, the all-stars, the 4-ofs in every deck on the symbol, or cards you will drastically warp your deck around to play. These are also going to be your top-tier characters. Examples of some A's include Specialized Sound Waves, Coordinated Effort, and All Might 3. B's are good cards, but take a little work to really shine. They might only be good with certain packages or under certain characters, but under the right conditions they can be really powerful. Examples of some B's include Recipro Extend, Release, and Asui 1. C's are your filler cards. Cards that round out attack packages, fill out a spot on your foundation curve, or cover a block zone your deck is lacking. These are also where the characters stop being optimized or maybe don't have enough support. Examples of some C's include Hardened Frenzy, Celebrity Status, and Hantasero 1. D's are cards that you should really avoid playing unless you really need something specific. Cards from underdeveloped archetypes, or cards with exactly one redeeming quality, maybe a good block zone or a low cost, but are otherwise unimpressive. Examples of Ds include Zero Gravity Capture, What's Their Plan, and the entirety of the evil symbol. Fs are bad, do not put them in your deck, they are overcosted and underpowered. Notably, the only character I have at F is All Might Trueform because he showed up in every single quirk pack I ever opened. Other than that, at this point all characters are playable to a degree. Examples of some Fs include Plug-in, even without the webcam nerf, and Pop-Off Step. Lastly, I also have a designation for sideboard cards that don't do enough in most cases, but can come in out of the board for great effect. Examples of sideboard cards include Ida 1, Short Circuit, and Exploding Pride. And with that groundwork set, let's get into the cards. First on our list today we have Kurigiri. Kurigiri is a 7 hand size, 19 health character on Evil, Order, and Void, and he has 2 abilities. Enhance, once per turn, look at the top and bottom card of your deck. You may add the bottom card of your deck to the top of your deck, and Response Commit, after your rival plays an attack, add it to the bottom of their deck, and choose one attack card in your rival's discard, add it to their hand. The way this card works, if your opponent has no attacks in their discard, they don't get a card back, so sometimes it'll be really good on their first attack, but they can play around this with the review step. The Enhance works similar to Jiro's, and the information is always a boon. The response is very different and works very well against both expensive attacks, since they have to pay costs before you use this, and big game-ending attacks with lots of setup, like Recipro Burst or Home Run Comet. I like defensive characters with a 7 hand size, since they let you build out resources while holding up blocks. Unfortunately, Kurigiri has no offensive utility outside of scouting, and his responsibility is only great situationally. I'd give Kurigiri a sideboard B. Characters make efficient use of sideboard slots, and you can bring this in when he's good. Up next, we have the R-rated hero Midnight, a 6 hand size, 28 health character on the symbols All, Chaos, and Void, with 2 abilities: Enhance Commit, discard any number of cards and draw 1 card for each card discarded, and Enhance Commit 1 Foundation. This attack gets +1 or -1 speed for each of its keywords, playable while committed. Defensively, this character has a built-in Rescue Completed, as most attacks have at least 2 keywords. Offensively, you could feasibly build a deck on these symbols where every attack has at least 3 keywords, and 3 speed on every attack is really good. Her ability to discard cards to draw is also really powerful, especially on offense, to find the attacks you need. And unlike with Latent Skill, you don't need to worry about the ability being cancelled, as we currently don't have a way to cancel character enhances. I could see her at the helm of a Void Kick deck or an All Punch deck. Both packages have plenty of keywords and make good use of speed. I'd give Midnight a solid A, able to play flexibly on offense and defense, and I could easily see her taking a comfortable spot in the top tier. Our next card is Present Mike, a 6 hand size, 28 health character on Chaos, Fire, and Life. He has 2 abilities: Enhance, remove the top card of your rival's deck from the game. If it was not an attack, ready this card. And Enhance, this attack gets +1 speed for every card in your rival's removed from game pile, maximum 4, playable while committed. I really wish Present Mike had shared a symbol with Jiro so we could play him with Earphone Jack and build a mill deck. That's not something we currently have right now. Let's start with the positives, because I think this is a cool design and I like what they did with him mechanically. Odds are you're going to get about 2 to 3 cards out of your opponent's deck each turn, And since they're removed, this will hit decks that draw enough cards to cycle consistently pretty hard, as they will probably only get to cycle once. You can also sometimes spike a key game piece like Staff Strike, Erase, or Recipro Burst, so decks that rely on drawing one key combo piece can get hosed here. The second enhance lets you put a lot of speed on your attacks with no cost. Up to 4 is an insane amount, and honestly you're happy with 2. All that being said, if you're on the play, this ability will not consistently be active until your turn 3. You are a blank character until then with no inherent defensive abilities, and even on turn 3, it's likely to be just 1 speed. I'd give Present Mike a C+. He's very slow to start, but once he gets going, he probably wins any late game. I'd look to build him in a very defensive shell, which in set 1 is going to be on fire, probably. Make it to the late game and you win, but good luck getting there. Next on our list, we have Rikido Sato, a 6-hand size 29 health character with the abilities Enhance, twice per turn, remove 1 card from your hand, your attack gains stun 1, draw 1 card. And Response, after you draw 1 or more cards during an enhanced step, this attack gets +1 damage. So Sato wants to reward me for drawing cards? Count me in. +1 damage isn't much, but again, he's asking me to draw cards. I'm not going to complain. His first enhance will help enable the damage boost a bit, and you get a little bit of stun out of it, which is nice. But stun hate does exist, so the usefulness of that may vary. Removing the card from your hand is downside, but it's negligible. Just get your opponent dead and it won't matter. You have no built-in defensive options, and you won't have much after a cycle, so you won't win a long game. I'd give Sato a B-. Solid aggro character with plenty of card draw support. I'd look to build him on order for the 2 cantripping attacks and passing the torch. Live in the present, draw your deck, go nuts. And now it's Toru time! Toru Hagakure is a 6-hand size, 28 health character on air, chaos, and water. She has 2 abilities. Response, once per turn, after an attack is played, it gets +2 or -2 speed and gains flash. And Response, destroy 1 foundation. After your unblocked attack deals damage, your rival adds 1 ready foundation from their stage to their hand. So it kills me to say this because I love this character and this card, but I think Toru is going to be relegated to sideboard duty. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I do think she'll see play. I just think that as a main character, she doesn't do enough. She's very good at poking and stopping exactly one of your opponent's attacks, but too many characters win with long strings of interchangeable attacks that you won't be able to affect at all. Final verdict, sideboard A+. Again, characters can have a huge impact on a match by taking up a single sideboard slot, and she can absolutely dominate against certain characters and strategies. You just gotta pick your moments with her. 2 cards left, and they're both actions, and our first one up is Concentrate, a 2 difficulty action with a 1 low block on the symbols Air, Chaos, and Fire. It has 2 abilities, and remember, you can only use one of them when you play this. The first is Response, remove, destroy 1 foundation. After an ability on an action card is played, cancel it. And the second is Enhance, if you have taken damage this turn, add this card to your momentum. This card is incredibly powerful in decks that utilize momentum, enabling turn 2 kills from decks like Jiro, though that only works on the draw. Having this card in your deck is not a reason to want to be on the draw, but it will close the gap in first player advantage in your favor. If actions become more prevalent, this will go up in value as a flexible safeguard that can act as a momentum boost. I'm going to start this at B+, but I could see this being relegated to the sideboard after some testing. I definitely keep my eye on this card though, as 2 unique effects that are both powerful and irreplaceable means this could easily see major play. Our second action and last card for today is The Price for Peace, a 1-cost action with a 3 mid block on the symbols All, Death, and Good. It has 2 abilities, Form, discard your hand, draw up to your printed hand size. If this is not your first form at the start of the end phase, lose the game. And Deadlock Enhance, name a Fury or Punch card, add any number of copies of the named card from your deck to your hand. This card has 2 very powerful effects with some pretty severe drawbacks. First off, it's a mediocre block, so it is susceptible to getting stuck in your hand. Second, players rarely build into Deadlock, making this mostly a 1 ability card. And finally, this first ability doesn't clear this from your card pool, and +1 to the difficulty of every card you play for the rest of the turn is going to offset the benefit of the card draw if you can't actually play the cards you draw. I'm giving this card a C-. There will be situations where only this card could win you the game, but 99% of the time, this is rotting in your hand. I'm willing to accept that I might be wrong here, but other people are going to have to prove me wrong. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this ended up as a D. Only time will tell. Anyway, that brings us to the end of our Provisional promo pack review. This was a small set of cards, and I mostly wanted to use it as a framework for how I'll be grading cards as they come out in future sets. As with any grading system, please remember that the grade is way less important than the conversation behind them. Use these grades and ideas as a jumping off point for your own testing. Get creative and have fun with these sweet new cards. See you next time.